What'd you call it?
Whiskey.
Whiskey.
So you're not a fan of the blackberry?
It's okay, but it's a little more cough syrupy and
thicker.
Yeah.
Ew,
It's
not a
good
good
with
way.
lemonade.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I tend to not. I'll throw a little diet ginger ale in, like with my peach or whatever. But sometimes it's just straight, just with ice. So
It used to be with a lime, and sometimes I forget that.
yeah, I don't do limes anymore. I don't fruit the drinks anymore for some reason.
You should, though.
Why?
The scurvy.
Scurvy.
Is the fruit properly washed?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want dirty fruit.
I don't know. I've been to some bars, not spring,
My,
of course.
my fruit is clean.
Is it clean?
Michelle
Yeah.
says that she would not recommend that.
The bar fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the bars you go to, if you like ask for a lemon, sometimes it tastes like olive, sometimes it tastes like cherries because it all kind of sloshes around in there and they just let it sit. Or your orange could be from days old. So
It could be.
yeah, but alcohol kills everything, so you're not going to end up with.
Well, that's
Right?
good. Then I should be fine as long as it doesn't kill me. I think
Yeah.
I'm good. So
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do, anyways. I know we did not want to talk about this very much, and we won't. We will just touch on it, and then we'll move on.
Oh,
but,
God, is it what I think you're about to say?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
But no,
Okay.
just it is over. It is done. Again, when we wrote the editorial from the renowned Muddy River News editorial board that just basically talked about, let's just get the sidewalks and the bike path ready and done for 48. That's all we wanted.
Yeah.
And then they went ahead and did the whole thing. So who knew? But it's done.
It's done. Time out. Those bike paths and whatnot, they're still not part of the plan.
They say it is. The county says it is.
There's a Facebook comment that says it is, so you better screenshot that bad boy so it lives in infamy.
Isn't there like a stopping point or something that doesn't go all the way through?
Yeah.
And of course, we're talking
Yes,
about the
yes.
mother effing
Yes.
roundabout.
Yes.
Right?
The last time.
Golly.
Hopefully. Until it's erected and
Yeah.
the Bob Goff statue's in the middle of it. So.
I do have one.
What pose do I want? Do I want this pose? Do I want this pose? Do I want this pose?
I don't know. It should be your hands in your
What I
pockets
want is-
because that's what it's going to take. Is we're all going to have to dip in our pockets at some point. I think, right?
Well, we got to pay for everything. So.
I know. So I just want to say one thing about it, and I'm not against a roundabout. I'm not at all. I'm against not knowing the full story. I feel like it's being pushed so much that I inevitably lean the opposite way because for some reason I just don't trust the.
Government?
Trust is a strong word. No, it's like, okay, why so important? Why? I mean, there are so many big things in Quincy. Why is this something that's found its way back to the city council, even though the majority of constituents, at least from what I hear and what I see, are not for it? Maybe it's because they're the loudest. I don't know. But why now? Why all this? Like, why so much
because
pressure?
the county still had this money. The county still wanted to do it, and the county lobbied the city, and they got the 8 votes they needed.
So now the grant money, because of course we've said it before, grant money, of course it comes out of our pocket. Can it be used on anything else? Maybe let's say like revenue, something that will drive revenue? No.
No.
It has to be used for this.
Most grants that you get from the state of Illinois are earmarked for specific reasons, and
Okay.
you can't use the money for something else.
It has to be for this specific intersection.
Some of them, and I haven't read this one. I read this one at one time. It's been a long time, but some of the money sometimes you can use it. There's some flexibility, like the riverfront money. They could have used it for the power lines. They could have used it for other stuff. I think this one, I don't think they had to build a roundabout per se.
Okay.
Though I don't think that was that specific. I would say probably not. But
So then will it affect, in my mind, it will affect every downstream intersection, right? Because right now, so let's say because 18th and State is a nightmare most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a constant flow of traffic out there that's flowing down that way and there's no stop and go, are they going to have to reconfigure then the stoplight?
they may have to recalibrate the stoplights,
Okay.
possibly.
So there are some things that I think everybody, or maybe hopefully they've considered before giving this the green light. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things. And then I want to see the budget, the bids, make sure there's no conflicts of interest. And then I want to see the actual numbers because then these things should all be considered before another project like this kind of gets green lighted against, most people's.
Well,
wishes.
again, I mean, we don't live in a thing where we don't live in a our form of government doesn't work that way. We elect people to represent our views, and if those people don't vote the way we want them to vote, then we vote them out. That's how it works.
Right.
Isn't it like
But they put some things on the ballot, like the aggregation.
A referendum, if it's more than, is it $1 million or $2 million?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, there's no number behind it?
There's no dollar amount, anything like that, no. It's at the discretion of the governing body how they do that. So
Really?
Yeah.
So if the mayor, so he has the potential to basically veto all this, right? He could say he doesn't?
No.
No. Okay.
Council voted 8-6 to do it. So no,
Okay.
he
Was
can't.
that pushed? Like, really? It seemed like it was really pushed fast instead of being read, I guess, another time. Like, they were getting that in there and they were doing it. And the people that voted no against it were pretty upset. They're like, why are we voting on this right now? Why are we doing this right now? Shouldn't this go back to...
It was brought to the table and they voted on it.
I think they argued, though, that it should have gone back to the finance...
It did, and it came back. It did go back to the finance committee.
Okay.
And it came back out of the finance committee. So... But anyway,
Interesting.
So anyway, we'll see.
And I don't think the argument, though, everyone, like, just to clarify, there are two separate arguments. Like, some people are arguing over a roundabout in general.
The functionality of it.
But I don't think that's the argument.
No,
I think
people
the
are saying that
majority
we're
of the
not smart enough
argument-
to figure it out, which for a while I was like, I've seen some people operate the four-way stop, but I mean, I got a little faith in us. I think we can figure it out. And I
not the
do
issue.
like the functionality of a
Same.
roundabout. I do, but it's like, just seems like there are a lot of unanswered
I
questions.
think the biggest thing, though, is the money. Like, the money, even though you say it was earmarked for this, it's like when we're spending money on something, when we need to spend money on other things, that's what is upsetting the public eye.
Yeah, and the fact that grant is being used kind of synonymously, it's free
With
money, which it's
with
not.
donation.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not.
But
I
we're
mean,
also,
it's-
we have the issue here where it seems like we have just a group of people who don't want to spend money on anything, don't want to do anything, and it seems like a lot of people are trying to cater to that, and that's people like, no, some people are never going to be happy. So, sorry, you're never going to be happy. And if you can't be happy, sorry, we're going to get the votes and we're going to do what we want.
There are some people who are never going to be happy. I don't think that's the majority. I think the people
it's
who
the
are
loud people on social media
Some
who will
of
never
it.
be happy about anything.
But if I were against the spending, does that make me just
Yeah,
Depends-
grouchy and
Naysayer?
unhappy.
Only if you're against every other issue that comes down the pike, like a lot of people are.
yeah? But that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's the majority. I think that a lot of people
No,
are
it's
in my
it's a very
boat.
vocal minority that is given far too much credit for things, and they need to be ignored because they're not serving the public any good unless they come up with their own solution. They
But if
should
you
come up with their own
look-
solution. You can
I
be against
disagree.
something. You can be against something. That's great.
No.
But if you look at
But-
the comments,
Nope.
I don't see anybody. I mean, there's like 2 out of 70 in most threads that I see that are like, yay.
You have a solution though. Your solution is you want to spend money on other stuff.
No. I
That
mean,
is your solution.
I don't think if you bring to light something that you don't agree with, you should not have to have a solution. If you are asked, if something is proposed and you don't agree with it, you don't need to have a solution on how to spend the money
So if
elsewhere.
it's a problem, you're saying don't solve the problem.
Is it a problem?
Is it a problem?
that we're solving?
Also,
I
I did have a
that's kind of
solution.
the thing.
Let's, put in the stoplights and all this
I
stuff.
think that's a great, and I think that's a
Yeah, we've
great
been saying
solution.
that from the
Absolutely,
get-go.
I was for that too.
And then
absolutely.
we were explained, well, we can't do that because of the leveling and whatnot. But
And
it's like,
I thought that, and I didn't think that was viable either because you
Can't
could have
you
put a
put-
flashing light or
Yeah,
something. Yeah,
exactly,
No, I
same
totally agree
stuff.
Well,
with
and
you
if
on
the
that.
county owns that, they can level it.
or
Boom,
you can just
problem
put a
solved.
flashing light that says stop ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just did that.
I agree with that.
Well, it's not a flashing light, but we taped up a sign at 3rd and Main because this lady has been hit not once but twice by a car crossing the street there.
Yeah, talk about bad luck.
Yeah.
Man.
And
That
what
would
did they? But what did they do to solve the problem? They put up a warning sign. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know. I don't see that it being a problem, and I also don't think that if you disagree with anything in general that you need to come up with the solution.
If you disagree with something though that you just don't like, and you're like, I don't like that. Why? I just don't like it. Okay.
Well, I don't think anybody's saying that. I think most people are saying I don't like it because it's
it's our
spending.
tax
It's our
dollars
taxes. It's my
on
tax
something
money. So
that
like I don't have to
could be
have
better
a,
spent
I can have an opinion on my tax dollars and not have to make a solution on it.
I agree with that.
No, you
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, I do.
Well, there's
No,
just
you
a
told me
lot.
I
There's a
needed a
lot
solution.
of. It seems like there's a lot of unanswered questions. It's a lot of people who get upset if you don't agree with it, right?
Yeah.
So then you're like, well, am I just a jackass on the bridge that won't get out of the way because somebody wants to spend this money and they want to spend it right now, but I don't really see the need and I don't really see, how it's all coming together. And, that's where I'm like, I want to see the bids. Who's pushing this through so forcefully and quickly, and why? Is there a conflict of interest? It almost seems untrustworthy. It just
Ken
does.
Snyder's the one who did this because he wanted it done before he left as county board chairman.
Why?
Because he wanted the roundabout, and the county was spending.
But doesn't he have to have a reason for wanting something?
He thinks it will improve the area and will improve the traffic flow and be better for the students of Johnwood Community College. He had very viable reasons to want to do it.
Okay. But, like, why does it need to happen right now, too?
He wanted it done before he was leaving the county board.
Isn't that a little selfish?
Sure it is.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah.
But he wanted that done because he was afraid it wouldn't get done if he didn't get it done before he left the county board.
And then to vote yes on something after previously voting no because you're kind of tired of hearing about it or you want to get along with people, that seems a little wonky as well. And that's not, directed at any, one person, but it's as a representative of your constituents, you cannot be,
wishy-washy?
Well, just like you can't kind of, you can't crumble under pressure like that.
Yeah.
You have to be like, yeah, this is my conviction. This is what I think. And this is what my constituents think. And I'm voting on behalf of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they elect me.
So a person can't change their mind.
I'm not saying that, but what has changed that made him change his mind? If nothing's changed, then that means you're conforming to something that was stated previously. So you're basically just folding.
Maybe someone went to those people and said, look, I know you're against this. Let me explain to you why you should be for it. And maybe they made a convincing argument and the person said, you're right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I wish I had heard those convincing arguments.
Yeah.
That made those people flip.
Well, I do know that,
the president of Johnwood Community College gave them when he was...
But they gave them before they voted the first time.
And they gave them again. So...
Yeah. So there's two sides to everything. There's two sides to every argument. I do think that people that are not for it, I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that, voters have a right to speak their opinion, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're against everything. There are some people that you're not going to please, but then again, you can't please everybody all the time. So I do understand that side. But you would think as an elected official that this would be something that you would want to think about before you run again if you're not going to, represent your constituents.
That's why we have elections.
Yeah. So, and then as a voter, get out and get your voice heard, and then attend the city council meetings if you want.
Or if you're not going to run again, maybe you're like, I'm not running again anyway. So
yeah, I was approached to run as alderman, and
again.
Yeah. So, kudos to everybody who sits up on the city council. I know that's not an easy job, especially when you're faced with this because it's. Again, it's...
And if you don't get your way, don't take your ball and go home.
Yeah.
That's my thing. It's like throw a big baby fit if you don't get your way. It's called democracy. It's called getting votes. It happens. And if you can't play the game as good as somebody else, that's your fault.
But I do have a question.
Learn to play the game.
Didn't it get turned down?
Yeah.
How did it get brought back up?
Somebody who voted against it can bring it back and put it on the table.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That's how it works?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's what happened.
Okay, because I remember...
Is that like that with everything?
I don't... That's parliamentary procedure that the Quincy City Council follows. So, and I think in some cases, there are some things where when you bring it back, it has to have more vote. It has to have a higher threshold of votes. And that was the one thing that I wasn't sure about, but the city attorney said that wasn't the case this time because there's been past cases where something is lost and it's come back, it's had to get 2/3 instead of a simple majority. Apparently that wasn't the case this time. I'm not sure about that, though. So one other thing I want to talk about before we turn it over and let you guys talk to our guest is the fact that we do have the survey on abortion that we are going to close at 5 o'clock Friday. So as you're watching this on Friday, 5 o'clock today, that will close. We've already gotten a tremendous number of responses. Thanks, everybody who's responding. I also want to assure you that your identification, whatever, is safe. The IP address is there, but it's not like I'm going to go through your IP address and see how you voted. So
completely anonymous.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. That's right.
Yeah.
So, and we will next week get all that compiled, and then next week and kind of go through it. And there's some really fascinating stuff in there. A couple of things that are very eye-opening as I've kind of taken a sneak peek at the numbers. And some other stuff that you expect. But anyway, that's something that we'll break down next week once we get the story. Once we get all the data put together and everything. So, are you going to tease our guests now?
Yeah.
Or?
Okay. So you know how like the subjects that we just talked about, they're subjects where nobody can agree upon. This subject, our next guest, is something that everyone can agree upon. She is the most universally community-like person, I believe.
I agree.
And I'm so excited to talk to her about her.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't want to talk about her.
Too bad.
You're going to give her the floor to talk a little bit about what we should talk about,
Yes.
but mostly we want to talk about her.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back.
The Liquor Booth is your home for a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. The Liquor Booth has 2 locations in Quincy, 3520 Broadway and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
All right, welcome back. Our next guest has worked as a drug and alcohol prevention specialist. She has been a bus driver and served on committees for the Quincy School Board and the QPS Foundation. She is a past board member of the American Heart Association, DARE, Quincy Regional Crime Stoppers, and is the former president and secretary of the Quincy Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association. That's a mouthful. She has been honored with the Humanitarian of the Year Award in 2022 at the Dancing with the Local Stars event. She has been honored by the YWCA as Woman of Achievement in 2006 and Woman of the Year in 2008, and most recently honored at the 2023 A Night to Dream Big with the Dream Big Award. She is a tireless volunteer who has served on the committee since its conception 12 years ago. She is the community connector, an avid local supporter. She absolutely believes in keeping everything as local as possible. She is the universally liked Miss Ann Boland.
Woohoo! Nice work, Brittany. And welcome, Ann Boland. I'm going to move this a little closer to you. So you were a little hesitant to come on and talk about yourself, right?
Yes.
Okay, too bad.
And I'm not going to.
Too bad.
Nope.
Okay, so that was quite an
I
introduction.
feel like we have a lot to uncover with Ann.
Yeah.
We always hear about the awards and stuff, and I want to hear more about you.
The juicy stuff,
Yeah.
Ann. Let's get into the juicy stuff. So everybody I talked to, and I told them we were interviewed, they're like, oh my gosh, I love her. Every person. Now, I can say with a solid, with just uncertainty that if somebody walked around and was like, Ashley, you're going to get a few people who are like, that girl, right? No one did that to you. How's that feel? Amazing?
I'm humbled.
Yeah, it's got to feel amazing. So, born and raised in Quincy?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I read that you went to Webster School.
Yes.
So that's the school, for those of you that don't know, that the 2 boys burned down. One was the levee crumbler. When that happened, what did you feel like?
Sad. I was there. I watched it.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, where was that?
Where the Morrison parking lot is there on Main Street between 12th and 14th.
Okay.
That's where Webster School was.
Oh, okay.
And it was burnt down. Then it was left vacant for quite a while, and then they created that lot
The Morrison
for parking.
Yeah.
Yes, for use. It was
How-
a wonderful school.
How many
Wonderful
years did you go
memories.
there?
K through 6.
Okay.
And that was back when it was K through 6 was the elementary buildings, and then junior high school housed 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And high school, which was on the corner of 30th and Main, that's now Baldwin, that was 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And I graduated from there.
Wow.
In 68.
Wow. So now what'd you do after you graduated?
I was married,
Okay.
and I have 3 sons.
Okay.
Back it up. When did you get married? Because I read that too.
In December.
Well, were you in senior high at the time?
Yes.
So
yes.
you were still in high school when you got...
That we won't get into that.
Why? I think it's a
Well,
the greatest
I was
love
going
story.
to graduate as a junior.
Oh,
and
smart.
I had the credits to do that.
Because you're smart.
And was going to do things, and because I'll say a clerical error, I had to go for a half day to obtain a half credit
Oh.
to graduate.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Okay, so your senior year. Now, is this
Yeah.
when you met your husband?
no,
Okay.
I had known him for a couple years. Prior.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got married, and I think in the times it probably wasn't too young, right? I mean, it was.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because I think my mom was married. Gosh, I couldn't even imagine getting married at the age she was, 19 or 20.
My
But
grandparents were 16.
Woo! Gosh, can you imagine? Okay, so you got married and you had 3 boys?
Yes, 3 sons.
Okay, so were you, was that your primary, you were raising a family?
Yes.
Keeping your husband happy?
Yes.
Right, most of the time?
Absolutely.
So now, what was your husband doing at the time?
He worked at Celotex Corporation.
Okay.
The paper mill here
Yeah.
in Quincy. Yeah.
I remember that place. That
Yeah.
was down on, like, Front Street? Was
Yes.
that like the
Yes.
okay.
Front Street, yes.
Huh.
Yes.
I knew a lot of people that worked there. That's interesting.
Things have changed in today's society so much from
so much.
different than what they were. We had several classmates that got married their senior year in school, and I mean, just things are different. Times now have changed significantly.
Right. Because I think
You've seen so many times change, too.
Yeah.
Like, just different. That's
Yes,
just the evolution
different
of
ways
technology.
people look at things. You know,
I thought it was impressive, personally. And I know that you did recently lose your husband, and I'm
Yes.
sorry for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very lost.
That was the day you told me that was one of the saddest things I've ever heard. We were at Gabe's Silver Dollar, and she told me that, and I did my best not to cry. And then she came back and came on a rant about keeping everything local. I mean, she was on one about just the importance of everything that you consume, everything that you do. Like, that's the way that's the way that the economy works. That's what makes Quincy what it is. It's just the way things go around, and the way things go around is with people like you.
it's supporting people that support you, and I think that it's very important in today's world that we have to remember that those business owners locally are also taxpayers. And that it's very important. Their doors will not stay open if we don't patronize them.
Right.
So I've been fortunate through the years to develop a lot of very good relationships with different business owners and stuff. And when you contact them, reach out to them, irregardless of what you're working on, they're very supportive of you. And I think that is reflected when you patronize those businesses. They remember that you're there for them to keep them going.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I saw the thing where it's like, remember when you're buying from big box stores or corporations, remember that when you go into your local business to ask them to sponsor your sports team or your player or your child or, any other thing that you're doing, fundraisers. So, that's really important. I think a lot of people forget that because convenience of today's world with Amazon and, the online world. But that's a really good point. And I think if that were something that Quincy would really etch in its stone, then we could keep things rolling pretty well around
And we're
here.
very fortunate, even downtown here in Quincy. Look at the businesses that have been here for a long time.
Right.
These are people who have been committed to make Quincy what it is today. And I know, like Shookings, Jeff Shooking, for example, a lot of people that live out of town come back to Quincy to patronize Jeff.
Yeah.
And so, we've got so many. I can't name all of them, but we're very blessed to have the community that we have.
Yeah.
I know that when we had that discussion, you mentioned something about Illinois school supply and that,
Yes.
and I turned around the next day and got my school supplies for Mela there just because you mentioned that. It sometimes slips your mind that it might not be as convenient, but it is extremely important.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yes,
the community work that you've done, and of course it seems like it's kind of your lifeblood, and of course the lifeblood of Quincy is its community, right? It's the people like you. How did you get your start into all of so you have a lot of causes, like you have a lot of things that you feel very passionate about,
Yes.
which I really respect of you, and I know a lot of other people do as well. So in raising your family, and I assume they all went to school locally?
Yes.
Is that how you got involved initially into some of this stuff, or how did you dip your toe into the world of,
I believe the example was set for us by my parents, for my 3 brothers and myself, and my grandmother, and we were taught to you give and to help others and do what you can, and you don't do it for the recognition. You do it to help others.
Yeah.
And that example was set forth for us, and so I think that was just something that was instilled in myself and my brothers from an early age, that you do what you can to make things better for other people. So, the joy that you receive out of volunteering and giving, and whether it's monetarily or just of your time. These organizations out there need people to volunteer and to help, and it can be maybe the smallest thing like stuffing letters.
Right.
You know, if you just reach out to them, and there's so many. We're blessed in the community that we live in with so many worthwhile organizations. I mean, and if you really want to get involved, you can just reach out. And I mean, I think everyone has a passion for something, whether it be the Heart Association or whether it be the police department or Crime Stoppers or whether it be Quincy Public School Foundation. There's so many out there. All you have to do is pick up that phone and make that initial contact with them and say, hey, maybe I can give you an hour or two a week. What can I do? Is there some specific area in which you need some help with? I'll be glad to do it. And then I think initially, once people do that, it tends to snowball.
Yeah.
But it's not one person. It's everybody working together collectively as a team.
Yeah.
And I always say there's no I in team, it's we.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we have such good groups here in Quincy as we have.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
Well, you've heard it from her, make the phone call.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to call you. I
Right.
mean, sometimes they do, but for the most part, make the phone call, reach out. Did you make the phone call when you worked as the police citizen?
Police Citizens Academy. Police Citizens Academy is a program that's put on by the Quincy Police Department. It's done twice a year. And I myself went through it, I believe it was maybe 16 years ago. And I would encourage any citizen or anyone who works in Quincy to reach out to the PROACT office and sign up, because if you attend that class, it's a 10-week class. And I believe it's 3 hours a week. And it is incredible. I mean, it opens your eyes. I, as a citizen, you know, at times would be critical of things that the police department did. And when you learn firsthand, you know, they have to operate within the parameters of the laws just as we do as citizens.
Right.
And they're citizens. And they had already founded this organization of individuals who had gone through it and wanted to do more to help the police department. And so then I myself, after I graduated, then I also joined this academy, and then we just we have fundraisers. We do different things to support the police department. A lot of our fundraisers were to purchase items for the police department that they could not purchase due to budgetary constraints, and our organization felt that they were worthwhile things that they needed. So, I mean, it's just wonderful. And once again, we reached out to not only the citizens but businesses, and they supported us and made donations that made these things happen.
Yeah.
And it's been highly successful. And as I said, I would encourage anybody that's interested to reach out.
Now, when did you go through the academy?
It's held at City Hall.
Okay.
They have the classes there, and they have different officers. They have Amber Durhage and Deb in the PROACT office that conduct it, and then they have officers each week who make presentations and basically educate the citizens as to what they do and everything.
Interesting.
And I would encourage both of you,
Yeah.
young ladies, to go through it.
Do you get to do like a ride-along or anything?
Yes, you do.
Really?
You get to do a
You get to flip the
ride-along.
sirens?
No, you don't get to flip
Oh,
the
dang
sirens.
it, Ann.
But I have done that, and I tell you what, it's really an eye-opening
Oh, I bet.
It, you know.
Yeah.
Did anything crazy happen on your ride along?
The first ride-along I ever did is we had a bank robbery it was a bank there on 12th and Jefferson.
Oh, it was Boatman Bank, was it?
No, I don't know. I don't remember what bank it was. It was
It's
on 12th and
changed
Jefferson.
so
Changed so
many
many
It's been-
times. It was
yeah.
Boatman's
The
when
bank-
I grew up around there.
the bank
but-
of
Yeah.
mirrors.
I don't
Yeah.
remember. But I mean, you just really have a deeper appreciation for what our law enforcement does.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
It's just, you look at things in a total different perspective. I mean, you're like, oh my gosh, I would have never
Yeah.
thought that. That would never have occurred to me.
So when you were volunteering, what does it look like to volunteer for the police or the Citizens Police Academy?
What we do, we're an organization, we meet monthly.
Uh-huh.
It's a group of people. I'm still actively involved. I hold a position, office, and we do educational things for our members. And then, like I said, we do have fundraisers to help the police department. And when they have a need, they will reach out to us. So,
Excellent.
yeah, it's
All working
great.
together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the American Heart Association. So was that what did that look like? And is that still?
That was years ago. We had a local chapter, and I got started on that, and I really don't remember exactly how it was I got involved. Somebody said to me, hey, they need help or whatever, and I got involved, and I was very passionate about that. And one year my father had a heart attack, and it was the year that the Spears were the chairman of that event. I believe it was Charlotte and George, or Jeff and George. I don't remember. It's been so many years ago. But I was involved in that, and it really made it.
Brought it home.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
outstanding.
But once again, you can reach out to any organization, see what you can do.
Yeah. So, okay, over your years, I'm sorry, I don't know you as well as Brittany does. I mean, of course, I've seen you places because Quincy's small and you're Ann Boland. But, so how many years have you been actively involved in giving your time to different organizations?
I'd say ever since I got out of high school.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sure you
That's
were in
just
things in high
outstanding.
school too.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was. Yeah.
That's outstanding.
So it's not a volunteer effort, but it is a low-paying job for what you have to go through. You drove a bus for the schools for 28 years.
Cheers to that.
Any funny stories that you can think of?
Not really. I mean, they were
Did
wonderful.
you ever have to pull the bus over?
Yes. Yes. I did on occasion. I was very strict, but I was treated everybody equal. Mm-hmm. And
The strictest ones were the safest ones.
Yeah, 100%. And you have to be.
Yes. I've been asked, oh, you want to come back and drive a bus? And I go, thank you. No.
Were there
No,
any
thank you.
emergencies in that? I mean, any bus emergencies or anything
No.
like that?
Not that I can recall. On slick roads one day, we kind of slid off the road a little bit, and I couldn't get traction, so we were there. So until they came and got
scary.
us, but it was, the kids were all happy and no big deal. They could just visit, and so I mean, I've got a lot of fond memories, and I see a lot of the students even in Quincy that used to ride my bus, and I have friends that kind of joke because they'll say, well, how do you know that individual? Or, how do you know them? I say, oh, they rode my school bus, and a friend of mine said the other day, did everybody ride your school bus?
Yep. Pretty much. How long were you a driver?
28.
28 years? Oh my gosh, you are a saint.
28
I
years.
just can't, teaching is hard, but I think riding a bus, because you have to deal with them, in the morning when they're either like groggy or grumpy, but then the afternoon, so much energy getting out of school. Woo, no thank you.
And it's almost like I don't know, it was kind of like there's no supervision. But then again, my bus driver wasn't Ann. My bus driver, I don't think could see or hear, so.
Yeah.
And our bus was
I had
pulled
some
over
sketchy
all
drivers,
the
too.
time.
Yeah. Pretty sure mine would lean out the window and smoke.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my.
But that's, those were the days too.
Let's not digress.
No, we won't. So I'm sure you have, like you mentioned, fond memories of bus driving, of all of your volunteer efforts. But, being in Quincy, and you talked about the changing times, fond memories just in general of Quincy and growing up here. I mean, do you have things that stick out in your mind that you're like, man, I wish that were...
The children of today don't know what it was like during the era that I grew up, because I can remember us playing outside. I make the joke about the fact of the matter, you didn't have to have car keys, because back in that day, and I know I sound prehistoric, but your car, you had an ignition and you unlocked the ignition with your key. You never took your key with you ever again, because you just had the ignition unlocked and you just get in your car and go. Your house was never locked.
Yeah.
Now we have the fobs and everything.
Yeah.
But things were a lot different. The neighborhood kids, you played together, you were out. Times have changed, and I realize that. Times are not going to stay the same. But I just think that things were a lot, it was pre-electronics.
Yeah. Yeah. I think probably you would agree. I mean, even when I was growing up, it almost seemed we were more tight-knit. So technology is supposed to bring people together, but I really feel like it's kind of separating us even more. Because it would be like, I would have to ride my bike to my friend's house, knock on the door, talk to the parents. Nicole home? You know,
And then sometimes she wouldn't be, and you rode your bike all the way there.
Yeah. So, or you would meet up at this spot, and we would walk to Hardee's or, you know, the Mini Mart, or, you know, and that was our crew. That was our whole crew. And you didn't have to worry about safety. My parents, I knew that when the street lights came on, that's when I had to go home, unless I heard my mom yelling at me for dinner. And I just think it would be so nice to get back to some of that. My kids have some of that in our area, but definitely not as much. And technology is one thing. I think safety is another. Not saying that Quincy isn't safe, but parents are a little more. They have a little more trepidation about letting their kids go too far. Right?
Absolutely. You know, and unfortunately, we live in a society that you have to be concerned.
Right.
But no, the memories, you know, of growing up and being kids, and the educational, you know, the schools, you know, the teachers, the wonderful memories I have of the teachers back then. And some I'm still friends with, you know, I see them today. They still reside here in Quincy. So I think that I'm very blessed because of living in Quincy. You're able to develop that relationship and to hold on to it, whereas I think probably in the bigger cities you don't have that opportunity.
Right. Yeah.
You,
teachers.
I think you're the one person I know that knows everyone's name more than like Mike always is like, can't believe that I know people's names. Like sometimes I kind of just pull it out of my ass. And kind of hoping, is that their name?
Is that right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
and he's like, why do you do that? I'm like, I don't know, because when you call somebody by name, it shows, you know, that you care. It means importance. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes I do mix it up, and I'm sorry about that. But Ann knows, I feel like, everyone's name. And how do you keep it straight? You just have a solid memory. Huh?
I do, and there's days that I can be sitting and talking to you and say, oh yeah, I'll call so, and I'm like, okay, I don't remember. And I always say, I'm like that computer, cannot access data, corrupted file. You know?
I have that every day.
Yeah, there's too much information up there. But it is nice when you're able to greet someone by their name, because like you said, they feel important when you say, Good afternoon, Brittany. How are you doing? You know, it's not just, hey, you.
Yeah.
And it also makes that sense of community and local thrive. It makes it what it is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's building the connections. I think that's what that's the bonus of a small community, knowing people and building those relationships. I think that's outstanding. So you mentioned schools, right?
Yes.
You had quite the honor
last year.
Yeah, last year.
A Night to Dream Big.
Yes.
So how was that?
You were
how did
so
that
beautiful and elegant when that happened.
Yeah, I saw pictures of
those. It was a wonderful night, and once again, I don't want to take credit because it wasn't me. It was we as a committee that made that a success. But more than that, it's the Quincy Public Schools Foundation. They do an incredible job. I mean, we are so blessed to have the individuals that we have running that, and the citizens of Quincy and the people that support it. And that's, once again, this year we're going to be having that November the 1st. And if you don't have your tickets, you can get your tickets now. And I do have a few notes here because I don't remember. You're
too busy remembering names, Ann. That's okay. We're gonna forgive you for needing notes.
Thank you. It's going to be held this Friday, on Friday, November the 1st, at the Oakley Lindsay Center for the first time.
Okay.
And so this is going to be the biggest fundraiser. It's the biggest fundraiser for Quincy Public Schools to raise funds for the public schools. All proceeds from this event, which, like I said, I encourage you, if you don't have your ticket, call now because they are going very fast. This money is funding essentially the programs and special projects in areas of need, including curriculum, technology, athletics, fine arts, and other student resources, ensuring the success of the students and the staff. And so the money that is generated from that, and we go out and we secure sponsorships, the committee members do, and we also get items donated for our auction. And we have live auction and we have silent auctions. This year, our honoree is Carson Kirk with the Dream Big Award, and then the 1981 Blue Devils Boys State Championship team is receiving the Distinguished Alumni Award. And this is going to be phenomenal, having the 81 team. And then
how many of them do you think are going to show up?
I believe there's only a couple that are not going to be there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've heard it's going to be outstanding, and of course, all of the current and past players are going to be there, just really turning it up.
It is.
Yeah.
Kicking it up a notch.
I know. I really think it's going to be a fantastic time.
It's going to be a great, and then also they'll be announcing the winner of the staff award. And people in the community have the opportunity to go online and they can vote for that individual. And the voting is open through October 21st. So the days are numbered, so go online.
Yeah.
Go online where?
QPSfoundation.org / capital N, capital T, capital D, capital B for
go.
Night to Dream Big. And then we're also, the tickets are $80 each or a table of 8 for $550.
It's a bargain.
It is
Yeah.
today with what you're going to get. And then seeing the 81 basketball team and Carson Kirk are going to be wonderful. And then we're raffling 2 Aventon e-bikes plus helmets this year, courtesy of Smith Brothers. And the bikes are white and blue to celebrate our Blue Devil pride.
I need one of those.
And the raffle will be taking place the night of the Dream Big, and you do not have to be present to win. You can buy your tickets online. 1 ticket is $20, 3 is $50, and 10 tickets for $100.
Awesome.
And then silent auction, we have hundreds of packages, and these items are donated by businesses, individuals, and stuff. And it is amazing. You yourself know you've been there, and you get
Yes,
to,
I'm going this year too. I already got
Are
my
you
table.
going?
I already got my table ready. The Gypsy Tango Foxtrot will be playing at the end of the evening.
Yes,
So
they
you'll,
will
you'll
be.
see me dancing.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. I need
And-
to get my ticket.
And then you do not have to be present for the silent auction to participate. This will launch online the week before Night to Dream Big.
Is that new?
No,
think they
it
did
is
that-
not. We did
Yeah.
the past 3 years.
Few
Okay.
years, because I've
3
been on
years.
some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice because if you can't make it that night, if you have
Yes,
other plans.
and you
yeah.
can do it like on your iPhone, your iPad, your computer, whatever, follow, and you can bid, and you can put in a top bid also on a lot of the items. You can do that. And then we have the live auctions, and these are incredible things that we have lined up. And they're, once again, like I said, they're donated by community members, and some items are up for auction that you probably wouldn't find anywhere else. So we encourage everyone that you have an opportunity to support the schools and the foundation by either attending it. If you want to make a donation, they would graciously accept it, or you can buy raffle tickets for that bike, or you can do the silent auction. And once again, that is qpsfoundation.org /NTDB.
NTDB. Yeah.
And-
it seems like that. I mean, that night, of course, it's a huge fundraiser. One of the main ones you mentioned. It touches every part of the school system, and even if you're not in the public schools, you can still support because it's the future of Quincy. It's the future of the world, right? We want to
Yes.
support these kiddos. I love that you're such a big part, and you, no doubt, it's so obvious how passionate you are about it. I love it,
Thank you.
and I've learned just in this short interview why everyone
Loves
loves you.
Ann Boland.
Well,
And
thank
it
you for your
is-
kind
yeah,
words.
I think you are. You know how Bob talked about having the statue. in
Yeah, I
Quincy?
think we're gonna knock. Yeah, it's gonna
I
be
feel like
Ann.
we need an Ann Boland
It's gonna be
statue
Ann.
maybe instead, but there's room for 2, I guess. But
No.
no, the Night to Dream Big is of course a huge fundraiser that touches every part of QPS, and it's so important. But more, not more than that, but also it's just a fun night.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity, and also it gives you an opportunity to fellowship with people that you might not normally get to see, but
Right.
we have people that come back in town to attend it. So, I mean, that makes it really nice, but I always say if we're not willing to invest in our children, what are we willing to invest in? They are our
Absolutely.
future.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And
it's
So-
so true.
You know,
And this night is like, it's almost like I know some people are like, why would they need extra? This night is so supportive of it. It is the base, of
everything.
Yes.
Of every activity, every group. I think And why not go support? It's fun. You're doing a good thing, and you don't even have to call one of these organizations and give your hour or two. Just go support at this great event.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Well, you have a great night of entertainment. You have a great night of food. You have camaraderie. You have an opportunity to purchase some very unique gifts. And a lot of people will purchase things for Christmas presents.
Yeah.
And do their shopping early.
Great idea.
So, I mean, it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
You get to be part of something that's very worthwhile. Plus, you have a wonderful evening. And you create fantastic memories.
Yeah.
And how many people can say, I mean, I don't know how many times that group of the 81 QHS basketball team has been together again.
Right.
I don't know. I myself don't recall.
I don't know, but that's pretty outstanding.
I am really excited. I mean, this is phenomenal. And like, as I said, Carson Kirk is a wonderful individual. And I think that in the teachers who will be recognized, whoever that individual is, I don't think a lot of times we give a lot of our teachers credit that they are deserving of. You said about driving a school bus, you wouldn't want to do that. I think, once again, you have an opportunity to have a positive impact on a child.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it may not be for everybody, but it does definitely take a special person. When those special people step up, you definitely have to celebrate them.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So outside of Night to Dream Big, do you have any big plans coming up that you want to share? Any secrets? Anything that you're like, I got something up my sleeve I'm about to do?
Not
No?
not right yet, but
Okay.
that doesn't mean when I walk out of here I won't get a phone
I
call.
was going to say, somebody's going to be like, oh, she doesn't have any big plans coming up. Okay, well, let's call her.
But
Yeah.
we always
set
have
her up.
Yeah, right.
we always have in the YWCA. I help them with that, and they have their big event coming up. October 25th, I believe it is. It's Friday night. I don't have my phone with me,
Yeah,
so I
Friday.
can't look at my calendar. But that's another worthwhile organization here in Quincy. If you don't have tickets for that, please call.
Is that the Voice for All Women?
But yes.
sync.
Well, it's not in sync. It's Voice for All Women, and they have the competition with the singers and stuff.
Oh, is it the
Oh,
mask?
the mask
Yeah.
one?
No, it's
No?
not the mask one. It's Voice for Women.
Okay.
And
Lip sync.
is it
That's-
lip sync?
yeah.
Lip sync.
Yeah.
Okay.
Baba
Thank
Booey.
you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Randy.
Yeah, we got it.
He's got
Mahler's,
it.
yeah, he's the lip syncer of all lip syncers.
Well,
for
and
sure.
Anthony Oliver.
Oh, he's amazing.
He is amazing. He's done it. And Chief of Police Adam Yates. I believe he won it last year, didn't he, Randy? Did he win it last year?
I think so.
I think it was last year.
Yeah, I think he did.
My events tend to run
I
together.
bet. You got a lot going on.
Run together. So I mean, like I said, we've just got so many wonderful
Yeah.
things. The home tour coming up this weekend. Those are wonderful things,
Yeah.
to benefit.
Tin dusters are coming
Tin
in.
dusters are coming to
Yeah.
Quincy. So for a community our size, we have a lot of action.
Absolutely.
And you can pick and choose. And if you're fortunate enough, you can attend all of them,
you go.
And I just say, I thank the Lord every day that I have the energy to get up and greet a new day that I've been granted and to continue on.
I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, how do you top that? I think that's amazing. I think we're very, very fortunate to have Miss Ann Boland in our community.
you.
And of course, here sitting at this table with us.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, it's
I
not
know.
every
I
day.
know it's something that you didn't want to do.
No,
She's
but
like,
I will promote organizations
she
all
was
day
trying
long.
to promote. I go, yeah, that's what we're having you on for.
Yeah, so she overcame her I don't want to say fear, but you just didn't want to talk about you're too humble for it.
She is too humble.
Yeah,
She's
which-
too sweet, too kind. You are the woman I aspire to become.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your kind words.
Yeah.
But once again, I reiterate, it's not one individual. It's a group of individuals that make things happen.
Yeah.
And the Lord.
Yes.
Oh, Ann Boland. Well, on that note, I think we cheers.
Cheers.
because I don't
Cheers.
think we can top any of that. But thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
And thank you again.
Thank you for what you ladies do.
Well,
Well,
thank
thank you.
It's paling in comparison, but we do aspire to be
No.
just like you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.